Hey guys, this is We the Legion. I am a very ill Jay because I've got Vindaloo poo. I'm not very well at the moment. You want to introduce yourselves, guys? I'm with.
You guys are cutting out.
Nope.
I'm Jeremy Martin. Hello, are you there?
My name is Philosopher.
You guys are cutting out.
Interesting. Can you hear me, guys?
That's cool.
I can now.
Yeah, we're recording, but we can edit out bits anyway. It doesn't matter. So just say your name and that, Phil. Phil?
Yeah?
Hello.
Phil, are you there?
Hello? Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
It's better. Yeah. You had really bad signal. So, Phil, you wanted to ask Jeremy a few questions?
Try not to breathe into your microphone. It's what's causing a lot of the problem.
Yeah. My internet speed sucks, but I will try to. I will do my best. So I think the topic that we should discuss new choosing.
You're cutting out all over the place. I can't understand anything you're saying.
Bro, just walk around your house and that. You're probably going to find somewhere you got better signal.
So you got no. It's not about.
It is bad. You don't know how bad it is because you don't hear it. You're cutting out very badly.
Yeah.
We can hear like 20% of what you say.
So, Phil, you wanted to ask Jeremy, what did you want to ask him about?
I would like to ask him about what he thinks about New Zealand shooting.
Well, I was
actually. We covered that yesterday.
Have you seen yesterday's show yet? Because I've done an early upload of it. The upload on We Legion hasn't come up yet, but I have my own upload of that whole 2 hour.
Oh, okay. All right, great. So, I have a strange theory about killing, and I'm going to share it with you guys. It might look a little bit weird, but bear with me. So I think if someone wants to kill another one, he doesn't, or she does.
I don't understand a word you're saying.
No.
I don't understand a word you're saying. It's cutting out all over the place now.
You can't hear me. Oh.
I'm hearing breathing in the microphone, and I'm hearing cutting in and out. So combining them both, I can't understand a word you're saying.
Have you got a headset, Phil? Phil?
We've got a buzzing sound in it as well. It just doesn't help.
Have you got a headset?
I will try to leave and join again.
Yeah, that's usually what fixes it.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could fix this buzzing sound. It comes and goes.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? But yeah, regarding the anesthetic, that's just normal, is it? Is it, Jeff?
Yeah, look, anesthetic, it's a lot more dangerous than people think. If you ask a doctor about it, they'll tell you, but they won't volunteer that information to you. It's
giving me a crappy stomach. That's right, is it? Is that normal?
It's not unusual.
Well, should it pass though?
Look, people can actually die from
it's just
anesthetic.
going through
You're not going to die from it, but people do have bad reactions and die to it quite often.
Shit.
Yeah, it's not easy on your body.
But now, is it just so my body just like leasing, getting rid of the poison type thing? Is it? It's going through me.
Yeah, pretty much.
In an unpleasant way.
I mean, if it gets
Phil,
a lot
you
worse,
back?
then you should do something about it.
Yeah.
If it gets a lot worse, but
Oh no, it was just a normal run, just like a bit of Vindaloo out the ass.
Can you guys hear me clearly now?
Yeah, Phil, did you hear what I just said?
What?
Phil, I just said I had Vindaloo poo.
Vindapoo.
Oh, really?
Vindapoo. Diarrhea.
That's.
Shit into it.
Oh my God.
I had an operation yesterday on my root canal of my teeth, and they put me under with anaesthetic, and the anaesthetic is making me ill today, so I'm pooing. I'm pooing from the eye of a needle.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah. So you wanted to know, you wanted to say something about the New Zealand. You had some kind of theory or something.
I have an interesting theory about killing people. So I think in order to kill somebody, you don't have a reason, and you don't have to be psychologically prepared for that kind of stuff. So there is nothing between you and the killing. I think that's a strange
I don't
theory.
quite understand what you're saying. The only thing that I can make sense of what you just said was that there's no reason for killing people. Well, killing someone is a very serious thing. It's not something that you do without a reason. If there's anything that has a reason, it is something like killing someone. In fact, Brenton Tarrant said in his manifesto, he clearly laid out a long list of reasons why he was doing this. So there clearly was a reason, and it's specifically mentioned, crystal clear, in his manifesto. Have you read his manifesto?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Well, he clearly states his reason for doing it.
Yes. No. I want just to. I think the fact or what he did was independent to what he thinks the reasons for his killing. So
his reasons for doing that, you're saying that his reasons for doing that are independent for the reasons he says?
No, the reasons are independent of the killing itself. The killing itself, in order to kill someone, it's something physical. You only need, you can use a tool and, for example, a gun and start to shoot people.
I don't quite follow you.
Yes, I think we as humans try to make sense of killing by making it logical, by inventing some reasons.
Are you trying to say that he rushed into it? That he rushed into it and then he tried to justify it with a feeble excuse after it?
No, I don't think it's that. I think Phil is trying to say that people shouldn't kill people. You can always talk it out and be diplomatic.
You can't always talk it out and be diplomatic. When you're facing someone whose whole purpose in life is to kill you, you can't reason with a person like that. You can't reason in every single situation. If you have a lion who is charging you and he's going to eat you, you can't talk him out of it. You can't talk your way out of every scenario, and sometimes you have to fight back and sometimes you have to kill. If you're going to say otherwise, then you're just living in imagination land.
Jeremy, what you're saying is Tarrant was going to be killed by these people that he killed.
Well, Tarrant's justification was that his people are being in the process of being killed, and that he did this in self-defense. Right. As a last resort, he laid out his reason that he toured the world for years, and he came to the conclusion that this was a last resort, the only option to take. And I've done polls on this and stuff to show that there's universal agreement with his reasoning.
So if he wasn't caught the other day after what he did, he was going to go around to every mosque.
No, what his whole plan was, he said in his manifesto, he was going to go to 2 mosques and possibly a third in around the same location. And he was going to do the same thing at those 2 or 3 mosques. The third mosque was a bonus objective. And then he would have stopped. He did this to make a political message to set a whole series of events in motion, which he has succided in doing. So I don't understand the argument that I don't know what your name is. I'm not sure what your argument is that you're making. Can you try and reword it?
I will try to. So this non-shooting is just an example. I'm talking about killing in.
You're cutting out again.
Not shooting. The guy who shooted those Muslims. You know, when the moment he started to shoot those Muslims, it's not his ideas or he's ground or he is those Muslims that killed them. It's him. It's his body.
I don't understand. You're not really making a point. I don't understand any point here. I'm just.
Phil saying he's a psycho.
He's been psychoanalyzed by the government and declared completely sane. There's no reasonable argument anyone can say that he is insane.
Yeah, but Jeremy, he is a psychopath because you can't just go around and just fucking kill people.
There's no reasoning in that claim. There's no evidence in that claim. The evidence is in the contrary. He's been psychoanalyzed by the government and declared completely sane. There is no actual argument anyone can make to say that he is insane. Simply killing people makes someone insane. Well, if someone points a gun at your head and you've got a gun yourself, and they're going to kill you, and you know they're going to kill you, it's either kill or be killed. Then you face a situation like that. Then you come back and tell me that killing people is insane, because if you think that self-defense is insane, then you're a liar and you're a hypocrite, because when you're faced in that situation yourself, you will defend yourself just like anyone else. And I'll give you an example of Fraser Anning, the so-called a hero of anti-Islam in Australia, who's against all violence. Universally against all violence. A few hours later, after he made a public announcement denouncing all violence, a 17-year-old kid hit him in the head with an egg, and then he starts beating up he starts throwing punches at the head of this 17-year-old kid. So a politician who's all against violence, suddenly he just gets egged, and then he starts throwing punches. Everyone believes in violence, everyone believes in self-defense, and everyone believes in killing in self-defense if necessary. The entire animal kingdom believes in this as well. Anyone who says otherwise is just flat out lying. You believe in it, just as I believe in it, just as Brenton Tarrant believes in it, just as Fraser Anning believes in it, just as every politician and every citizen of the world believes in it. I just have the balls to admit it.
But Jeb, what I'm saying is, if you're saying it was self-defense, what he done, yeah?
Yes.
Well, what was happening to him then? Who was attacking him?
Self-defense applies not just to you, but to anyone else. It's worded. It's probably, you could say it's worded wrong. Self-defense doesn't just apply to you; it also applies to defending someone else. As I said, Brenton Tarrant laid out his arguments. Brenton Tarrant laid out his arguments in his manifesto. He provided the list of links to all kinds of evidence to his claims, and I don't see anyone producing an argument and dealing with his arguments. What you're doing is you're just saying,
So he was
let's just
protected
put his
by
arguments
him.
aside. Let's just call him insane. Let's just pretend he didn't have a reason, and let's just ignore his evidence, and we'll just call him insane. This is no different to calling someone a racist, Islamophobe, blah blah blah.
No,
There's no
no.
argument. There's no substance. You need to provide substance to your argument. You can't ignore
Okay.
the argument and evidence. You need to deal with his own argument and his own evidence.
Okay, here's my idea. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you
Sure.
need a reason? Do you need a reason in order to kill?
You don't need a reason
You don't.
to kill.
You don't need
You
a
don't need
reason.
to understand. You can kill by accident. Okay, there's not a
No,
there's not a
not
reason
to-
on
no.
your behalf why.
I don't-
But there is
no,
a
you-
reason. There
you-
is a reason behind every single action that happens in the universe that has a cause.
Yes.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
Now, when
Okay,
someone
the cause.
proactively
Yes.
and intentionally kills, that if they have an intention behind it, then they have a reason behind it. You can't have an intention without reason.
Okay.
He had a reason, he had a justification, and he had evidence.
The cause of killing is been physical. It's not.
There's very little
so-
physical
so-
fact. There is a very little of a physical factor involved. This is all ideological. It's all
No, I don't think it's ideological. I don't think so. It's not.
Well, he
it's not
lays it out
ideas
crystal clear
that
in his
kills.
manifesto. He lays it out crystal clear in his manifesto. Everything he said that would ideologically happen, happened.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you think?
Boys,
Do
he looked like he was just fucking obsessed with playing Call of Duty, because when I
How
watched
did it
the video,
provide
it
an
looked like he
argument,
was
provide
playing a
evidence,
game.
and provide a premise? Because you made this claim yesterday, and you had no evidence, and you basically admitted that there was no justification for this claim about Call of Duty. How is he going to live stream a shooting of a mosque, apart from putting a GoPro on his head? When people use a GoPro, that's what they do. They put it on their head.
Well, I'm a gamer. I'm saying from me, it looked like he was playing a fucking game. That's what I'm saying.
Well, if you
Phil,
read
you
his
agree,
manifesto, he does not take this as a game. He toured the world for 7 years, and he thought everything through very carefully over a very long period of time. He was not playing a game.
Okay, Kate. So who was he protecting then? Let's just get this out there.
He lays
Who
this
was
out
he
crystal clear in
protecting?
his manifesto over and over again. He's trying to protect everyone, even Muslims.
Oh, right. Okay.
He went around the world, he toured the world, he appreciated all cultures. He was against these globalists, and he even said that Muslims, these Muslim invaders, not that all Muslims are, or people who call themselves Muslims at least, are invaders, but there are a large number of them. They go to other countries as an invading force, as they've done throughout their entire existence of Islam. They invade and they genocide and they take over in the dark of night, and they're doing it now. They've been doing this the whole time. Now, these Muslims, he says in his manifesto, and he's in fact correct about this, is his targeting of Muslims is not targeting the root of the problem. The Muslim invasion of the West is just a proxy for someone else's war. This is not the head of the problem, but it is the most imminent and life-threatening problem to his people.
Yeah.
It is a problem that needs to be dealt with now, because it's at the final stages. If we don't fight back now, we're all dead. But even if we defeat this enemy of Islam, that doesn't defeat the real enemy who is using Islam as a proxy to attack us.
Yeah.
This was not physical. This was all ideological and political. And it is laid out crystal clear over and over in his manifesto.
Oh yeah.
I don't.
You just said I don't, and then you cut off. I'm not sure if you start speaking or you cut off.
I think ideology is not something essential. And
This was all
this
about
process,
ideology.
I think to kill. I'm going to tell you something. In order to kill, you need a gun.
No, you don't.
need
You don't need a gun to kill.
to do the killing. You know, it's like
If you need a gun
like
to kill,
when
go
you try
have a
to
look at
make-
London. You look at what Muslims are doing in London right now under Sadiq Khan. The stabbing capital of the world with knives. They don't need guns. They don't use guns there. They use knives.
I'm just giving an example of a gun. I mean, you can use anything. You can use. I mean, you don't need an idea or an ideological motive in order to kill. You know,
That's exactly what I said. I said you can kill by accident, but if you kill intentionally, then you have a reason for it. Either you're acting in self-defense or you're acting under some kind of idea. You have a belief or an idea or even an ideology. And this is all ideological. It is clearly stated over and over again.
You know,
This is all ideological.
You know what? You know what happens when a mass shooting happens? You know what happens? People get shocked, right? They get shocked and they say we don't believe it. And you know why they don't believe it?
That's not the case at all.
Because they think.
No, that's not the case at all. When mass shooting happens, sometimes it's just some kind of crazy person, and then evil people will try and justify that to grasp a bit more power. And there's always, whenever these things happen, there's always two sides of it, depending on the context of the situation, what those two sides are. In this example, I will show you again, like I showed yesterday, an example of what people really think. Just give me a sec. I will send a screenshot of a poll.
All right. Okay.
Just give me a second.
So,
Be up in a couple of seconds now. It's just uploading. All right. So read that. I'll read that poll out now. The question: your position on the New Zealand mosque issue. Option 1. I'm not allowed to publicly speak about what everyone knows is the truth because my country has already been invaded and taken over. Hate speech. 365 votes. Option 2. Islam is the religion of peace. 3 votes. Option 3. Lunar right nutter, white supremacist, conspiracy theorist, Nazi, racist, sexist, homophobe, pedophobe, inbred, mentally ill, KKK, privileged, poo-poo. 2 votes. Of those 5 people out of about 400 who voted otherwise, I challenged every single one of them to debate, and I offered them each $1,000 to defeat me in debate. And all I received in return was beheading threats and shit like that.
Was he a skinhead?
See, my position on this, everyone agrees with that, and no one has an argument contrary, and you're not producing an argument here either.
I'm just I'm not making an argument because I don't really know much about him. I just seen him go out and he just killed a load of people.
Well,
if you don't know,
then don't judge. Your best thing to do is to go and look this stuff up.
I haven't judged him. I'm listening to you. I've been listening to you for days, but I still can't have my own opinion.
You don't know this. Do you know what an opinion is?
He's a bit of a racist.
He's not a racist.
Let's just be honest.
How is he a racist?
Yes.
How do you even know what a racist? Okay, there's a few things. Let me clarify a few things here. Okay, opinion. Let's start with opinion. An opinion is you don't actually have the right to an opinion. An opinion is a personal belief, not based on fact or reason, but by personal prejudices. And it's not about reason and facts. So people don't have the right to express. People do not have the right to express an opinion. If you can say, and when someone says that I have an opinion, what you're saying is that I have an invalid belief. So it is a self-refutation. If you're speaking from opinion, you are saying that it's like saying, don't listen to anything I'm about to say because I'm wrong. That's what you're saying by saying that's your opinion. It is not the same thing as a professional opinion, which is a very false term. A professional opinion isn't actually an opinion. It's actually a factual and reason-based professional position. It's based on evidence and reason. It's not the same thing as a standard opinion.
So,
Yeah, but
racist. As for
Jeremy,
racist, let me go through your claims here. As for you say he's racist, where is your evidence? If you actually read what he says about races in his manifesto, he appreciates all races, and he did this to defend all races. Namely, number one, his own people who are in the process of being massively genocided. But he did this to protect He did this. Let me finish. He did this to protect all people, including Muslims. Would you like me to read his manifesto, what he actually says about different races? Because he toured the world in appreciation of other races. So if he's a racist, you want to provide evidence.
Well, I
heard, Islam isn't a race either.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm trying to say that he went after terrorists. You're just not speaking very clearly.
Yes, he went after terrorists.
You're trying to say.
There you go. What has this got to do with racism?
Because everyone, well, if you just said that, then fucking Phil would know what you're on about. He wasn't here the other day.
Well, as I said, when people have an opinion on something, when people, like, it's okay if people, based on their experiences, say, okay, this is, according to the information that I have, this is how I think things probably are, based on my experiences, but I need to look into this further to have a more valid perspective on it. That's that's a fine position to have. But to say that, that's to just outright accuse someone of something that's just not true without even knowing the situation, that's something completely different.
No, what I was trying to say is, to people that don't know that he was after terrorists, the news haven't said, you know what? The news haven't fucking said that he was after terrorists. They haven't put it out there for the public. Yes. So how are the public meant to know?
But look at what my poll. I refer straight back to that poll that I just put up. It's in the text chat. Now,
everyone. I know you put a poll up.
Everyone
put a poll up on the news. Didn't you?
This but what about the news, Jeremy? I know this is not on the news. However, my poll shows.
Yeah, but can I keep talking a minute? How are the public meant to know that he isn't a racist?
Because they already know. Review my poll. Review.
No, Jay. He went on B-Chan and he said that he was going to do this. It was on B-Chan. Jay.
I refer back to my poll. Yeah. Look, 365 votes to 5.
No, I know
Let me read what that vote says. Let me read what that vote says again. This is what everyone knows and believes, okay? This is what everyone except for a tiny, tiny, tiny minority, this is what everyone else thinks, okay? I'm not allowed to publicly speak what everyone knows is the truth. Because my country has already been invaded and taken over.
Right.
So everyone knows the media are lying. They know that everyone knows the truth. They're just not allowed to publicly talk about it. So what I'm saying,
right?
Most people actually know and agree with everything that I've been saying on this matter, but they're not free. They don't feel safe to publicly talk about it.
Yeah, but sometimes, Jay, you don't let people talk. Can I talk a minute? Right. What I'm trying to say is,
I'm letting people talk as much as possible.
Wait, Jay. Well, let me talk then.
I'm letting you talk.
On the news, they would say, what? You're doing it again? You're cutting in. Right, Jay, on the news, they didn't say the tyrant was after terrorists. They made out that he was just these innocent Muslims, and he went in and just massacred them. That's what my argument is. Don't know your side of it. They don't know.
I've already answered your question. I've already answered that.
No.
Multiple times.
I know, but I'm saying the public don't see your view.
Yes, they do. I just showed you a poll. Everyone believes what I'm saying. Everyone believes it. They're just too scared to say it. I'm saying what everyone already knows and believes. If you think otherwise, then you are a tiny, tiny, tiny minority who's living in extreme ignorance.
No, I'm not. I'm saying I believe you. I'm saying the news is not fucking.
Yes, and I agree with you, and I've already agreed with you like at least 3 times now. And let me repeat this again because you keep saying this in a circle here. The media will not say the truth. No one watches the media anymore. The media are completely collapsing all around you. They're losing. They're having mass sackings because they're into massive debt now. No one watches mainstream media anymore. I haven't for a while. It's gone the way of VHS videos. The old video store. No one goes to video stores anymore. No one watches the mainstream media news anymore. Everyone knows mainstream media is full of shit. No one watches it anymore. No one and anyone who does,
I'm just
they
saying-
don't believe in what they see.
All right,
Everyone
but I'm just
knows.
saying, on the main.
Everyone knows what's going on regarding the topic of Islam and Muslim invasion of the West. Everyone knows. I'm just one who's willing to actually talk about it and say what everyone else already knows and is too scared of saying.
Just trying to say that the news makes it look like he's just a fucking psychopath that went in and killed a
Yes,
load of Muslims.
I agree.
That's what it like. Thank
I
you.
agree. The news is trying to
There we
portray
go.
him that, but they're failing. It's not working. Everyone knows otherwise.
Yeah, okay. But that's what I was trying to say. So at least you agree with me. So that's
I said this from the start. Yes, I agree that the media is doing this. And the government even
That's
more
cool.
so.
That was my argument. They're making it.
See, look,
They're mad, aren't they?
the so-called powers that be, are trying to maintain a big lie, a narrative of history and the present, to try and in the big plan of white genocide. It starts off with white people. It ends up with everyone's genocide. Once white people are gone, there's no one left to defend everyone else, and they're gone far more quickly than white people. This is in defense of everybody. And this genocide that's going on, everyone knows it's going on. Some people just lie about it and exploit it for self-gain, but everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows the truth. They're just not willing to admit it. So it doesn't matter what the mainstream media news does. They have no power anymore. No one believes that shit anymore. If you just go on Facebook and look at any reference to any kind of media, and absolutely no one believes that they're crap anymore. So there's nothing to be concerned about with the mainstream media fooling people anymore, because they're not fooling anyone anymore. So don't be so concerned about their lies. The more they lie, the more people get pissed off about it, and the more they're actually going to do something about it. So it's actually a good thing.
Phil, are you there?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, the way the world.
The way the world what? Sorry,
The way the world, and when somebody killed or kills another one, they focus on the reasons. They focus on the reasons, and they forget and they're forgetting one simple, which is if you want to kill somebody, or if this incident of killing happened, the one who killed is the person. It's not his ideological or his ideas or his political background. It's him. It's his ideas. Is not something essential in the process. 100% physical.
Look, I don't even understand what you're talking about physical. It's not even making any coherent sense. But what you're saying about when people... I do understand the first part of what you said, is you seem to be arguing against people doing things for a reason. Like, if I eat a chocolate cake, I eat it because I'm hungry, and my hunger is on my mind when I'm doing it. So if I'm doing something for a reason, then I'm thinking of that reason while I'm doing it, because that's how doing things works. Everything I do is for a reason, and I'm doing it for a reason, therefore it's why I'm doing it. It's like...
So did he think like he was taking out the trash, taking out the garbage?
Yes, and he put it in his manifesto. He provided links to evidence to show that this was basically a terrorist training compound, and why he was doing it. He wasn't simply doing it to take out a bunch of terrorists. He was doing this as a political message to set in motion a certain series of events.
But yeah, he had strong evidence that these guys weren't.
He was
normal
not
Muslims.
playing. He was not playing a short scale then and there game. He was playing the long game. And what he did, he was playing the long game. He was playing
what
the
I
big
mean is
picture
he
game.
had strong evidence before he did what he did. He found out they were extremists and stuff.
There,
yeah?
look, there is universal strong evidence already for anyone who actually looks into this topic.
Yeah.
As I said before, every single Muslim is a terrorist, and I'm willing to put $1,000 on the table. I'll give anyone wants to prove me wrong that not all Muslims are terrorists. I'll give you $1,000 if you can prove me wrong. Anyone wants to debate it? All Muslims are terrorists, but I will also add to that not everyone who says they're a Muslim is a Muslim, because there are people who are forced into Islam and subjugated under it, and if they don't say they're a Muslim, they get beheaded. Given the chance, they would leave Islam. Given the chance, they're not actual Muslims. They're Muslim slaves. They're not actual Muslims.
All right, can I speak a minute? I had a mate. He was a Muslim, and his mum was a Muslim, and they were nothing with terrorism.
You don't know him unless you know what he really believes in. Do you even know what the definition of a Muslim is?
Of course, I know what a Muslim is.
What is the definition of a Muslim?
Well, it's a religion, isn't it? That, you know.
A definition of a Muslim.
I don't really know.
A Muslim is a follower of Muhammad. Not just any follower. A Muslim must follow Muhammad 100%. The book of authority is the Quran. A Muslim must follow 100% of what's written in the Quran. Not 99%. They can't pick or choose. 100% is the most strictest thing about Islam. And Muhammad's commandments say this, that you must follow 100% of his messages, his commandments, right? Secondary to that is the Hadith. The Hadith, when it comes to Sharia law, actually has more authority than the Quran, because Sharia law is mostly based on the Hadith. But when there's a contradiction between the Quran and the Hadith, and there often are, then the Quran takes priority. However, the Hadith actually has more power than the Quran, and so the Muslims follow what's in the Quran and the Hadith. And what's in the Quran and the Hadith, a Muslim claims to follow. So if these books are actually a terrorist training manual of how to destroy the entire world and subjugate and genocide the whole world, and a bigger plot and scheme on how to do it, if these books are a terrorist training manual, thereby you saying that you follow this book means that you are a terrorist.
I mean, if I joined ISIS, I would be rightfully classified as a terrorist.
Yeah.
If I claim to be a Muslim, I'm therefore rightly classified as a terrorist, because Islam is terrorism. This is the foundation of Islam. It's written on every page.
I think
It's not a misunderstanding. This is on every page.
I live in an Islamic country, and I think I know more about this stuff. So,
Well, debate me. I'll give you $1,000 if you can prove me wrong. All Muslims are terrorists. Every single Muslim is a terrorist, and I'll give you $1,000 if you can prove me wrong right now.
yeah, I think religion is something it's something traditional. It's like
let's not put all religions in the same box, because there's only one religion that teaches 54-year-old men to marry 6-year-old children and rape and beat them at 9. There's only one religion that does this. Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, Shintos, even Jews, they get along just fine, like 95% of the time. There's a problem with one religion, and only one religion. Let's not shift blame onto other religions, because Islam is not like, it is in a complete separate category to everyone else. But as for you growing up in an Islamic country, well, I grew up around Lebanese Muslims in Australia, invaders. I grew up in sword battles with them. Okay, I have a lot of experience with Muslims. And here I am. I'm the one offering $1,000 for anyone who can prove me wrong when I say that all Muslims are terrorists. Every single Muslim. $1,000. Anyone wants to prove me wrong? $1,000.
I think I don't feel like I really want to prove you wrong. You know, because
I'm giving you $1,000 incentive. If you're right, then not only are you doing a service to humanity, by exposing the truth. You're getting $1,000 out of it too. What else can I do? I can give you a pedestal, I can give you money, and you still make the claim, but you just won't back it up. Even if I pay you to do it. I'm paying you to, I'm like, the very people who would take my voice away, I am paying them to give me, to give their voice, to speak their voice. And they still won't speak.
Okay, good luck, bro.
If you want to say that I'm wrong, I'm paying you to prove me wrong. What else can I do?
No, I'm not saying that you are wrong, and I'm also not saying that you are right. You have
I'm
you
either
have the
wrong.
right.
I'm either wrong. There's no half truth. I'm either right or I'm wrong. There's no in between.
You have
right
the
or I'm
right
wrong.
to
So
believe.
it can't be
You
both.
have the right
It can't be both. It has to be one or
to
the other.
believe. You have the right in believing in whatever you want.
This isn't about
Yeah,
belief.
I
This
think-
is about the truth.
I
This is not
think
about
people
belief.
still
This
say
is not about your
like
truth or
some
my
people-
truth. This is about the truth. Either I'm right
No,
or I'm wrong. Am I
you're-
right or am I
you're
wrong? If you
saying-
can prove me wrong, then
If you're saying that all Muslims are terrorists, I mean, it's your opinion.
no. I just
you can-
explained what an opinion is. An opinion is a personal belief based on personal preferences and prejudices, not based on fact and reason. I'm arguing from facts and reason here. I'm not based on. This is not nothing to do with emotional thinking.
So
This is about the truth.
you
This is not about
So-
feelings. This is about the
so
truth.
it's a fact. It's a fact, right?
It is a fact that every single Muslim is a terrorist, and I can prove it, hands down, every time. And I'm offering
can you-
$1,000 for anyone who can prove me wrong. You even said
can you-
you didn't even
Okay.
say that I was wrong.
Okay.
You
Can you
indirectly
please-
said that I was right.
Okay. Can you prove that all Muslims are terrorists?
Would you like to give you 100 quotes of commandments in the Quran, commanding to terrorism? Would you like? I can read I've got hours and hours of videos on this stuff. I can quote you some right now if you want. I can quote you some proof.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something. In order to be sure that all Muslims are terrorists, you need to know each individual Muslim.
I do know each
Very
individual
well.
Muslim, and I can prove it right
No,
now.
you don't.
Yes, I do, and I can prove it right now. Let me
You
prove
know-
it right now.
Do you
Let me
know?
prove it. Let me prove
Do
it
you
that I
know
understand, that
all-
I know every single Muslim individually right now. I can prove it right now. Because by claiming
Do you
you're a
know?
Muslim, you
Do
are,
you know?
that is literally a claim of following the Quran 100% and following the Hadith 100%, except
Okay.
for when it contradicts
Okay,
with the Quran.
wait.
So you are following
How?
these commandments. If
No,
these
no, no, no.
commandments, if these commandments are commandments to commit acts of terrorism and genocide and plot and scheme to take over and destroy the entire world, anyone who therefore
Okay.
calls themselves Muslim
Okay.
is in fact a terrorist by definition.
Okay, did you read the Quran?
Yes, I just offered to quote you. I can quote the Quran all day. This is on every page.
No. Wait. Did you read the Quran?
Yes, I just told you I've read the Quran, and I offered right now to quote you the
Okay.
Quran. Shall I
Did you
quote
read?
the Quran?
Did you read the Hadith?
Yes, I've read the Hadith. Which I'll read you a Hadith
Okay.
right now. I'll read you a Hadith
How
right
many?
now.
How many Hadith there is?
Bukhari, Volume 7, Book 62, number 88.
No.
The
Wait.
Prophet, The
Tell
Prophet
me.
wrote the
Okay.
marriage contract with Aisha when she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage with her when she was 9 years old, and she remained with him for 9 years, i.e. until his death. All Muslims must follow the example of Muhammad. Therefore, all Muslims follow this example of marrying 6-year-old children, child
Okay.
marriages, and raping and beating children. In where I
Okay.
come from, you may come from an Islamic country. I come from the civilized world. Where I come from, this is illegal. It's called pedophilia. This is a crime. If you claim to follow this, you are guilty of pedophilia where I come from.
Okay.
This is
How do you
unacceptable
know-
where I come from. It may be acceptable where you come from. It is not
Okay.
acceptable where I come from.
Okay. Do you know that religion is something geographic? You know?
No, it is not geographic. It is not geographic.
It's geographic.
I will show.
Yes,
I will
it's
show you. I
geographic.
can show you the geography of religion right now because I've actually built maps of religion and stuff like that. I can show you my own personal maps of religious distribution, or I can just speak to you right now. Islam. Most of the Islamic world does exist through the destroyed region of the Middle East. Well, what about the millions and millions of Muslims living in Indonesia or China?
I do agree that, you know,
Muslims are not based on geography. They're actually, religion is not based on geography, but it is heavily associated with, but not totally dependent of, genetics.
Yeah.
Not geography, but genetics. So there is a somewhat loose connection with, not a universal connection, but there is a somewhat loose connection with geography and religion. But it's got nothing to do with the environment and geography. This is to do with genetics. For example, half of all Muslims today, more than half of all Muslims today, are the direct product of inbreeding. Both their parents were related. Their parents were likely related. Their parents were likely related. And this has been going on for 1400 years, and let's just say it's been going on even longer than that.
Alright, can I say something in a minute? What I was trying to say, but you just kept coming back in, was that I think it's wrong that they marry little kids. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Phil, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you also agree?
Really,
do you also agree that all Muslims, by definition of Islam, all Muslims must follow the example of? Sorry, I'll let you speak because you're cutting out. I couldn't hear.
Yeah. I'm trying to say, I don't like the fact Islamic people marry 6-year-old kids. I don't like that. I think we can all agree.
I agree with that. I'm pretty sure we all agree. I think he said yes before that. He agrees. I'm pretty sure he said yes.
Okay. So there we go. We're all in agreement with that, at least. Yeah. I think that's paedophilia.
So,
I agree with you.
All Muslims are not just terrorists. Therefore, all Muslims are also pedophiles, because all Muslims must follow the example of Muhammad. Did you know that the frequency of child marriage in the Muslim world? In Saudi Arabia, old men marry and rape and kill newborn babies on a regular basis. It's not, you won't see that in the news, but this is what they do. They consider this normal where they come from. That's the real face of Muslim.
That sends shivers down my spine.
I think what Jeremy is doing wrong. I think he's over generalizing. Yes,
I'm not overgeneralizing. I'm accurately bullseye defining what the definition of a Muslim is.
No,
if you claim to be a Muslim, you claim to follow these things. If you claim to follow the example of, put it this way, if there was a dude called John Johnson in Australia, I'm in Australia, right? If there was a dude called John Johnson in Australia who formed a cult, and this cult revolved around pedophilia, right? Raping, beating, and murdering children. And he formed this cult, and he wrote an instruction booklet on how to enslave and rape and kill children. He wrote an instruction booklet on this. So I announce on Facebook that I've joined his cult. If his cult is based on this book, which is a list of commandments to plot how to commit pedophilia, by claiming I am a member of this cult, I am legally classified as a pedophile and I should be charged, imprisoned, or probably worse. By simply claiming. If I claimed that I was a member of ISIS, if I said on Facebook today, I've joined ISIS, what do you think is going to rightfully happen to me if I said that? If I say that I'm a member of ISIS, am I not classified legally as a terrorist? And rightfully so. In the same way, if I call myself, if I claim to follow an ideology that teaches this or that, then I am claiming that I agree with, and I'm planning the very things planned in these books.
Right.
If the Muslim religion teaches and commands pedophilia, every Muslim is also a pedophile. Every single Muslim is a pedophile by the definition of Islam and by what their books actually say.
Okay. I'm going to tell you a little fact.
So don't divert. Am I right? Is every Muslim a pedophile by the definition of Islam? Yes or no?
No.
Then provide an argument. Otherwise, don't divert. Provide an argument. Prove me wrong.
All right. Okay. So I think the world. I think you are seeing the world as you are classifying the world.
I'm not classifying the world. I'm classifying Islam here.
Wait. Can you please listen to me?
If you're going to strawman me, I'm going to interrupt because you're saying that I'm saying this and that. I'm not saying this and that. I'm not talking about the world. I'm talking about Islam and the definition of Islam.
Okay. I think in my personal opinion, I don't see people from their religion, from their religious background. You know, I believe that each individual is different. You know, to try to put a bunch of people in one bracket. You can call it whatever you want, Islam or anything. I think it's a shallow idea, because I think we are individuals, you know. Yes, it might be some common things, like, for example, language and religion.
Okay.
But it's not makes you who you are. It's not what makes you who you are, you know. I might tell you, or if you meet somebody, for example, and he told you that he's a Muslim, I think it's not fair enough to tell him, for example, or to think that, hey, he's a Muslim, so therefore he's a pedophile, therefore he's a terrorist. I think this is a shallow idea. I think it's stupid.
Okay, I'll respond to that. Okay, if I went around saying that I'm a pedophile and I'm going to kill and rape all the children, that makes me a bad person, doesn't it? So the things that you claim you are, and the moral compass you claim to adhere to, that makes you what you are. So you refer again to personal opinion. Let me go back to what an opinion is again. An opinion is not anything to do with facts and reason. It is a personal and prejudice-based emotional thinking. It has nothing to do with facts and reason and truth, or even morality. Yep. It contends all of that. Yep. It goes against all of that.
I think
you don't have the right to an opinion. You don't have the right to an opinion, and your opinion has no value. It is your opinion is offensive to morality and truth.
Okay, wait. Okay, I think when I say opinion,
you're saying that I'm shallow. Well, I'm the one producing an argument and offering money here, and all you're doing is calling me silly names.
Okay. I think when I say opinion, I think and I know why I say opinion, because I'm a skeptical guy. And
no, you're not a skeptical guy. You're just making up definitions and changing words all over the place and just making it up as you go. You still haven't provided any kind of argument. You're just calling me silly names. And I'm offering you money to produce an argument to prove me wrong. And all you're doing is calling me silly names. Should I expect beheading threats next?
No, I won't. I'm not going to threat you. I'm a peaceful man, and Jay can prove this.
If you're a peaceful man, then you believe in maintaining peace against the likes of pedophiles. You wouldn't defend pedophiles. You'd be stopping pedophiles.
No, I'm not.
Peace is maintained by violence.
I'm not defending pedophiles.
You are.
Don't think I'm pedophiles.
I just quoted the hadith that all Muslims follow. Therefore, all Muslims follow this, which literally makes them pedophiles. And you are defending
Chad, can I speak a minute? There's a different side to Muslim. There's a side called the Sunnis, and the Sunnis were getting killed by ISIS. ISIS were killing them.
No. ISIS are actually... No. Your mistake, you're thinking Shia. Shia Muslims are the minority who are mostly persecuted by the majority Sunnis. ISIS are no different to any of them. They're all the same people. They only disagree. The only thing they really disagree on is who gets to be boss. That's all they really disagree on. They all follow the same books. They all believe in the same things. There is no difference between ISIS and a Sunni or a Shia. There's no real difference apart from who gets to be boss.
But I thought there was a difference.
No, there's not. The only difference is really to who's boss.
They live in peace. Where they live in peace.
No, they do not live in peace. They all follow the same books and they all agree with the same things. Muslims have been fighting each other since the very beginning. This is where Shia and Sunni split apart into two groups early on.
Okay,
yeah,
I think
all over who gets to be boss.
I think
you might be confusing it with Sufis, which is something a little bit different.
I think reading about Islam is not going to help you to understand how Muslims think. I
don't need help understanding how Muslims think. I know how Muslims think inside out.
No,
I don't need help understanding.
Wait.
I already understand.
I think I'm going to suggest an experience for you. I try to make a trip or a visit to a few Muslim countries. You know,
I don't need to physically go to Muslim countries. I can speak to Muslims over the internet right now. You just said earlier that you're in a Muslim country. I'm speaking to a Muslim in a Muslim country right now.
No,
I don't need to physically go there.
Yes, you need to physically go there.
No, I don't need to physically go there. I can talk to you in a Muslim country right now.
No, if you're really interested in knowing how Muslims think, and I think you really should visit one of the Muslim countries.
If you're interested in the truth, you'll be accepting my $1,000 and proving me wrong.
No, I'm giving you what you really should do in order to understand how Muslims think.
I've been giving you what you should really do to justify yourself and defend yourself, because it may be the only chance
you can't just sit there and judge people from your comfort zone. I think you need to
understand that you're judging yourself. See, I'm giving you $1,000, and your response is I'm judging you by your own standards.
I don't care about your money.
Then produce an argument for free. Do it right now. I'm still waiting for an argument. All I get is like silly name calling. Produce an argument. Prove me wrong.
No.
All Muslims are terrorists, and I've just established that also all Muslims are also pedophiles.
Yeah, but Jeremy, for all you know, Phil could be a Muslim, and Phil ain't a terrorist.
If he's a Muslim, then he's both a terrorist and a pedophile and more. By the definition of Islam. And we're still waiting for an argument to prove me wrong.
I've known Phil for a few years, and Phil is lovely.
He's lovely. Well, this guy who may be a Muslim, if he's a Muslim, then he is also a terrorist and a pedophile. And this guy is defending terrorist pedophiles. That doesn't make him a good person. He's not a good person.
But that's going back. Yeah, go on, Phil.
Produce an argument. I'm still waiting for an argument. Prove me wrong. You're not even dealing with my information here.
No. I understand exactly.
I can quote the Quran right now if you want to.
Your idea.
You want me to? You want me to quote these commandments in the Quran?
No.
Because I can tell you what Muslims all really believe in. I can quote the words they're claiming to believe. I can quote them word for word.
I'm going to tell you the simple facts. Okay.
You haven't told me a single fact yet. You've argued against facts. You've argued for feelings, not facts.
Okay. What if I told you that Muslims know only a few things about the Quran and the Hadith? Is this a surprise for you?
Well, they're claiming if I joined ISIS and I thought that ISIS was about handing out free flowers to the world, is ignorance an excuse? If I claim to follow a pedophile and a terrorist, and then I pretend that I didn't know any better, is that really a valid excuse? No, it's not. It still makes me a terrorist and a pedophile.
No. I'm just telling you that.
Playing dumb doesn't work. It's not a valid argument. Playing dumb is not a valid argument. You do what you do, and you own the consequences. You pay the
What Phil
consequences.
is trying to say is that he doesn't believe that every Muslim is extremist. That's what he's trying to say, I think.
Not every
Phil,
person
am I
who
right?
calls themselves a Muslim is even a Muslim. There are people who are forced to say they're a Muslim because if they say otherwise, they get killed. They want to leave Islam, but they can't. They're not allowed to. They have to pretend to be a Muslim. Everyone who chooses to follow Islam is all these things. By simply claiming they're a Muslim, they are claiming to follow what these books actually say. Is this not crystal clear? Is this not crystal clear? Show me an argument otherwise.
Jeremy, if I converted to Islam right now, so I become a paedophile and a terrorist, yeah?
If you claim to be a Muslim right now, if you later said, "Oh, I didn't know any better," or "I was just joking," no, it's not a joke. It's playing dumb isn't a valid excuse. You know, if you do the crime, you pay the price.
No, I said converted. I said if I converted, I'm not a fucking Muslim. I'm saying, listen to me.
Yes, but if you converted, you would be guilty of these things, and you should rightfully be in prison then and there. By converting. If I converted to ISIS right now, what should happen to me?
There you go. Right. You just said it. So you're saying every Muslim is ISIS. You just said it.
Yes, every Muslim follows the exact same things as ISIS.
Thank you.
They believe in the same things as ISIS.
You think every Muslim in the world is ISIS? Are you in?
No, ISIS is just a silly name of one of the many branches of Islam who only disagree on the fact of who gets to be boss. Now there are two methods of invasion that Islam does. They do what's called creeping Sharia, and they do violent jihad. What they usually do is they do creeping Sharia. They sneak in the back door. They inbreed and multiply real fast. And then once they got the numbers, they stab you in the back in the dark of night and they take over. This is what they've done in every country throughout the world. It's what they're doing right now.
Couldn't you convert to Islam?
The only thing they disagree on is who gets to be boss, and that boss determines whether is it time to stab them in the back yet, or do we wait a little bit longer? They all believe in the same genocide of the white Western race. They all got the same plan. They just disagree on, is it time yet or is it not? Do we need to wait a little bit longer? And while they wait, they sabotage and undermine and slowly, creepingly take over those countries from within and sabotage them.
So you really think the 9/11 was done by Bin Laden, I guess, yeah? You really think that?
Muslims were involved one way or another. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether Muslims did it or not. Because the fact that Muslims are planning this and a whole lot more is the truth. Muslims plan a lot worse than 9/11, and they've done a lot worse since. Worse than 9/11.
They didn't do 9/11.
Prove it.
And they were just fucking painted the fucking...
Where's your proof? Where's your proof?
I can't prove it. I can't prove it. It was an inside
There are
job
anomalies
by the
in the story. I don't disagree that there's anomalies in the story, but that doesn't mean that Muslims didn't do it. In fact, when it comes to this government takeover of what that happened around 9/11, I was actually working with the FBI, good people in the FBI at the time. I have nothing to do with the FBI now. They are extremely corrupted and evil now. I'm not saying that 100% of everyone who works for the FBI is totally evil, but it's overwhelmingly evil now. But back in those days, things dramatically changed, and I was involved with them personally. I know what happened from the inside out. I know of the Islamic takeover, the covert political coup of Islam taking over the American government, and the attempted covert defense against it that failed. I know what actually happened around 9/11 inside the US government.
Go on then. Tell us then. We want to know.
It's in my story. It's in my last story that I've referred to before.
But tell us.
The FBI went through three directors in like it was like 2 months or so. There are a lot of dramatic changes that happened within the hierarchy of the US government. Power became massively centralized, and they used 9/11 as an excuse. It all happened around the same time. They used 9/11 as an excuse to centralize the shuffling of power into the hands of a small few. Robert Mueller despite how fucked up he is today, he actually, soon after he got into power, he openly criticised the US government for giving him too much power, and what was going on. Even
So
Robert
do you
Mueller
think-
criticised the
Do you
US
think the
government over
planes
giving
were
him
actually
too much power.
hijacked? Right, but do you think the planes were actually hijacked and smashed into the Twin
Planes
Towers?
are hijacked by Muslims and crushed into places all the time.
I'm asking you what you believe.
I believe that Muslims were involved in 9/11 and in a larger scale plot than 9/11 itself.
Right, yeah, okay, we're getting somewhere now. So do you agree that the government used the Muslims?
Understand that I classify Muslims and other people. Some might call them globalists. I also call them the J and the Z word.
Yeah.
These are all the same people. Even feminists, LGBT, they are all branches of the same ideology, and they all have the
what we're
same
talking here-
genocidal. They all have the same genocidal objective.
So
They
what
all
we're
work
talking
together.
here is the government. Yeah. Okay.
The US
Well,
government
I'm
is not the
considering
enemy. The US government has
yeah.
been taken over by the enemy. And there is a massive war going on in all Western governments because of this foreign invasion of their governments.
Right.
The corruption in Western governments comes from outside of the West. If you want to go look at the Corruption Perceptions Index, then you'll see where this corruption comes from. The West is in fact by far the least corrupt in the world, and it is being rampantly taken over by the corrupt, who come from specific places. You know where? Everyone knows where. I don't need to answer
Well,
that.
if you quote the Bible and you go into Revelations, they reckon that
I
the
can quote myself
Antichrist
in
and
Revelations,
take-
and I can prove it.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is, they reckon that the Antichrist would come from the east, and he would take over the west, and he would cause armies on either shore. I'm right. That is a quote, isn't it?
Quote me.
No, I'm not quoting you, Jet. I'm saying
Quote me what Revelation says.
Yeah, I'm saying there was a revelation saying about how power would rise in the east and take over in the west, and he would cause armies on either shore, turning man against his brother till man exists.
Do you know that who is the most authoritative prophet in the Bible? The most considered today, even the one prophet that Jesus mentioned,
Yeah.
Isaiah. Isaiah
I'm not
clearly
religious. I'm
says
trying to say.
in Isaiah. In fact, I can try and find the exact quote if you want. That the man of prophecy will come from the far east, and he will reach out toward the west.
Yeah.
This is the man of
That's what I'm
prophecy
trying to say.
from Isaiah, the most authoritative prophet, saying that the true man of prophecy will come from the far east.
So what you're saying is the Antichrist is fucking ISIS, yeah? So you're saying, aren't you?
No, what I'm saying is there may not, in fact, actually be an Antichrist.
Oh,
Let me just get the quote of
Phil, are you
Isaiah.
there?
Just give me a sec.
yeah.
Isaiah
I'm listening.
46:11. Isaiah 46:11. From the east I summon a bird of prey. From a far off land, a man to fulfill my purpose. What I have said, that I will bring about. What I have planned, that I will do. This is in part of a larger quote regarding the very man of prophecy. In fact, Nostradamus said the same thing in his own prophecies. Prophecies all around the world that all say the same thing. I've got hours and hours of videos of prophecy videos proving everything. If anyone wants to look at them and try and debate me over it.
Right, guys, let's talk about this now. So the way things are going with all this fucking, white supremacy fucking
Show me a single white supremacist who ever lived.
What?
Show me a single white supremacist who ever lived.
Okay, maybe I'm wording that wrong. What I'm trying to say is...
There's many white nationalists, and there's even more brown and black nationalists, but there's no such thing as a white supremacist.
Okay, well maybe people take that term wrong, but what I'm trying to say is, with what everything points towards, is that we are heading for a war between Christians and Muslims.
No, it's not just... Christians and Muslims will be a big part of it, sure.
But this is beyond Christians and Muslims. This is beyond all nations. This is not even nation against nation. This is a war.
Are headed towards a World War III, and it is going to be very soon.
Yes, and it is not simply between Christians and Muslims. It's not between the political left and right. It is between good and evil. It is between good and evil, and it operates through many labels. Good and evil cuts a jagged line through every label. And I've been saying this since I went public several years back.
Every war has been about religion.
Have you seen my recent video of the incoming war? I showed pictures of different countries now on fire. All around the world, all these countries are on fire now.
Did you hear about when World War II happened?
I know a lot about it.
Hitler was financed by the American government.
Everyone was financed by everyone else at some point.
It all boils down to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers.
And who do the Rothschild and the Rockefellers? What kind of so-called race do they classify themselves as?
Alien? I don't know.
No. It's the J word. The one word you're not allowed to say.
Why aren't I allowed
I've got
to say
videos showing how deep that rabbit hole goes and where the truth really is. They are not the chosen people. They are the very fake, imposter chosen people referred to in prophecy. And
well, they were given the commandments from Adam Weishaupt to take over the world, weren't they? A new world order.
This Illuminati stuff is all bullshit. Okay, look at what just happened with the dude that I stopped from that mass shooting. He was into this Illuminati bullshit, crazy as fuck. All this Illuminati stuff, it's insane conspiracy theory bullshit.
I do know of it.
Let me explain something about the Illuminati, because this is important. A lot of people really need to wake up to the obvious truth right in front of them. There is no Illuminati. There was. I can hear some TV or something in someone's background. Alright, so there was an Illuminati a long, long time ago. It was just a gentleman's club who had aspirations on trying to fix the world problems and stuff. It wasn't an evil conspiracy. It was they had ideas, whether they were misguided or not. They had ideas of trying to help the world, make the world a better place. And they started doing favours for each other, like legal favours and stuff, because they had different jobs in government positions and stuff, and they started doing each other like favours and stuff. So several governments, one in particular, started it. Said no, we're not going to allow that shit. This shit happened in the past. We're going to shut this down straight away. So soon after they weren't even around for that long, and they were quickly shut down. Then they were gone. It wasn't until a few decades ago that this conspiracy theory bullshit really picked up. There was a conspiracy theory a long time ago that was just no one took seriously, just crazy shit. But some crazy people, New Age people, in recent decades have grabbed onto. They look at things in the past and they just find conspiracy theories in the past and they just invent stories of it. So all this Illuminati stuff today is all bullshit. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't secret organisations that have been going around for a long time. Hell, look, I'm the founder of one of the biggest of all of these. I know all this stuff. There certainly are secret organisations, both good and evil, but there is no Illuminati. Anyone who says there are, they're just full of shit. As for the Illuminati symbol, the main argument to justify this Illuminati bullshit is to say that the Illuminati symbol's on the US dollar. Well, no, this is called the Eye of Providence. It was a popular old symbol to represent God, the all-seeing Eye of God. It's an old symbol. And look up the Eye of Providence. So
explain the Twin Towers burning down on the back of a $20 bill. Then explain that.
You want to look at the Denver airport murals? If you want to see that, I'll get to that.
I'm trying to say
the Eye of Providence. The Eye of Providence. The U.S. government adopted it as all governments adopt some kind of symbol of their day to represent that they have God's support. Every government has done this. Always done this. So the U.S. government chose a common symbol of the time, the Eye of Providence, to become the official United States seal. This Illuminati group that was very short-lived, they grabbed this, they decided to use this symbol too after, not before, but after the US government adopted it, because it was already popular. They're so popular that the US government adopted it as their seal, and they adopted it as their official symbol too. People do this all the time. It's not unusual. So as for the two towers being burned down, are you aware of the Denver airport murals of the two towers being brought down? Because I've got videos that I've done on this too. The Denver airport murals, are you familiar with them?
No, I'm not.
Okay, make sure to look this up later. If you want, I can give you photo. I can find some links for you. I can give you some stuff on this. So in Denver airport, there's all these strange murals and statues and shit all over the place, and no one knows where they came from, and they're like all prophetic and stuff. And these things happen. These things have been put in place before, and it's got a picture example of the two towers being cut down with an Islamic scimitar. And there's a lot of
then what about let's go a bit deeper then. What about Ebola then? Because Ebola was a load of shit.
I'll get it. I'm just skipping too many points. But as for people saying that things happen in advance, sure, it's possible that some people could have conspired for decades to do something, right? It's also possible that this has something to do with prophecies, and also prophecies that are not widely well known. And it might also, maybe there are forces at play here that people don't know about. Maybe there are forces at play here who know what happens in the future. And maybe I've already proven that I'm playing this in New Game Plus.
Yeah.
So, imagine a war between good and evil, where both good and evil can see into the future. How do you think you solve a war like that? When everyone knows everyone else's move in advance.
Well, that's what we were talking about the other day. We were talking about the Hydro Collider CERN, and we were saying Matt was saying how we thought the elite use it for time travel. So
no, I don't think that's true at all. But I don't disagree that time travel. Look, everyone who ever lived is guilty of time travel. The fact that 1, 2, 3. I just travelled in 3 different seconds, Everyone's travelling forward in time, and time travel backwards is a different story. I've actually got this covered in a lot of detail, and there's, in recent last couple of years or so, there's a lot of scientific evidence to back up what I've been saying on this, as controversial as it is. It also includes things like alternate or parallel universes that appear and disappear, not things that have just always been. I'm talking about universes that appear and disappear. They're temporary. In fact, our universe may very well be one of them. I've got a lot of information I've said on that, but imagine a war where both sides can see into the future. Now, people can say that prophecies, for example, either they're true or they're not. Well, I've got videos in this showing undeniable that prophecies are indeed true. Now, it's a matter of how does this come to be? Who saw into the future, and how did they see into the future? How did they know? And if one person knows, then maybe someone else knows as well. Maybe a lot of people know, for whatever reason, they're able to see what happens in the future. So, see where this argument leads. I'm pretty sure.
Phil, you there?
I'm pretty sure you can see. I can hear something in the background.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear something in the background. He's still here.
Have you got anything to add about? We're talking about the Illuminati right now.
Yeah, I actually, yes, I don't believe in this Illuminati thing.
Neither do I.
And I also don't believe in any idea that goes like the world is controlled by a bunch of people. I also don't believe in this idea. I think the world is chaotic, and nobody is really ruling. Nobody is. Sometimes we have this.
I somewhat agree with you. I say that it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both, and things are becoming massively chaotic. And there was a plan. There's things under the table that have been going on, in order to orchestrate this chaos, in order to resolve a long problem. There are things that are going to come to the surface. Powers that were not seen before are coming to the surface now. But yeah, I say that there was some kind of order of conspiring evil pieces of shit in the past,
And as they've lost power, things have become more chaotic. And it is widely chaotic now, but this has been planned by other forces behind the scenes. But there is no secret ruling elite that just has total control over the world. I don't believe that either.
It is highly chaotic.
I also think
highly
it's
chaotic right now.
Yeah, it's a stupid idea also to think that a bunch of people are ruling the world. And I think it's not the...
You're cutting out. You've almost completely timed out. I can't hear anything. It's cutting out completely.
And now, can you hear me?
I can hear about maybe 70% of what you're saying now.
Yeah. What about now?
A bit better.
Okay.
Just check if you've got any other messaging apps or anything that's using up bandwidth. Just maybe you should close it if there is anything else running. It could help.
No, I don't think.
Just bad
maybe
internet.
it's
just a
bad internet.
Says you're
better now. I
online.
can hear you now.
Says you're
Can you
online
repeat?
on Discord. Bill. Maybe close Discord. Says you're online
Yeah,
on
because
Discord.
you've got Discord.
Close
If you've got Discord open, close Discord.
Yeah.
Phil, I can see you right now online on Discord. Oh, I think we
Yeah.
got Daphne wants to come on the show, guys.
Oh, cool. We've
Yeah.
finally got more people coming, finally. How long have we been going
Yeah,
for?
because it's
Yeah,
getting later now.
We've been going for 1 hour, 20 minutes. I've got all day as long as you guys want.
Yeah, but I have to go by like 10:30 tonight. I've been.
So, Jay, what do you think? Do you think that there is a small secret group of people who are in total control of the world, or do you think it's chaotic, or do you think it's somewhere in between?
I know about the Bilderberg meetings. I know about the bankers.
Yeah, they do
rulers,
conspire. There are people who do. Everyone knows this. There are people who are very wealthy who do conspire, but what power they had in the past is completely falling apart, isn't it? I think everyone sees that by now. They're freaking out because they know that their time is up.
I think that the Federal Reserve is like the most powerful. I think it all strings from the Fed. I think all the wars have been about the banks. I don't know.
Do you know about the
corrupt.
big tech industry crash? I've actually got videos on this. I went through a whole bunch of statistics to show, and I called it in advance. I said this was going to happen and why it would happen, and it's even worse than I even said it was happening at the time. But this big collapse, like Facebook, for example, losing almost half its stock in a short period of time.
Yeah. I was going to say, people think like the Illuminati are the bankers, don't they? A lot of people.
Yeah, well,
A lot
the thing
of people.
is, when people talk about these conspiring groups, they never mention the one group who's the most conspiring of all, the ones that call themselves by the J word.
What's the J word?
Second letter E. 3 letters. The one word we're not allowed to say.
Why aren't we allowed to say it?
Because if we say it, we get censored.
Do we?
I can hear some static somewhere. It's stopped again. I don't think it's coming from me.
3 words and we get censored.
3 letters
What the
and it's
fuck? I can't
J-E
hear
something.
Go on then, send it to me in Discord so I can see what you're on about, and then I won't say it.
Yes. Can you
Yeah,
send
can you do?
As if the word isn't that obvious.
it to me?
Now,
Yeah.
that name, they are not a race. They are a fake race. They pretend that they're the chosen people, and they're not. These are people who are devoid of race. They are devoid of heritage. They have abandoned all their evolutionary heritage responsibilities and everything, and they have become parasites upon everyone. They are not a unique people.
So-
They come from all walks of
So
life,
you're-
all
okay,
races, and they all pretend that they're the
So
same
you're-
people.
You're talking
Okay,
about Jewish,
send
right?
me the word. Oh.
It's Jewish, right?
I neither confirm nor deny. I neither confirm
So-
nor deny the obvious.
So you are afraid to say the word
And
Jew?
I also classify Muslims and them as actually the same people. And most of those who claim to be of a genetic origin, pure race of those people, are actually no different than Arabs. They are Arabs.
Now you're going deep. Now you're going deep. Now you're going into
They are in
Zionism.
fact genetically the same people. Those who claim to be the old school of that group are actually genetically the same exact people. They fight each other, but they're actually the same people and they don't realise it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't know.
There's a lot that can be
I
said
do-
on that topic and these topics.
Yeah.
So there was, I just remembered something very important. We were talking earlier before this recording of autism and Asperger's.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about that?
Well, my issues, you mean?
Because that's an important topic that
Yeah.
people don't know about.
I-
That's
I-
very important.
I
That's more
yeah,
important
I
than the
just-
present
well-
New Zealand thing. Sorry?
I just live with it every day. It just means I think a little bit differently to the average person. I get angry and nasty very quickly. Apparently, I have no empathy.
I've been labelled autistic and I have an abundance of empathy.
Yeah.
I've got, long story there. So autism.
Yeah.
Autism originally started as it was a childhood learning disorder. It was just temporary. So this wasn't someone who just had low IQ. It wasn't someone who had bad schooling or bad parenting. It was just some kind of growth disability that fixes itself and they grow out of it. That's how it started. And the definition of autism has dramatically changed all over the place to completely different things all over the place over time. And to the point today, now they call it a spectrum disorder. And it is on a spectrum that covers every single person who ever lived. So everyone is, like, you're either dead or you're alive or you've got AIDS or you haven't got AIDS. Well, with spectrums, everyone's got it to whatever different degree they define is acceptable. It doesn't even have a definition anymore.
Yeah.
And
I've got
a ton of links in that. Sorry?
I was just saying, I kind of take the mick out of myself and my problem. I kind of like call myself Asperger's and that, and then I don't tend to get attacked by other people anymore because I'm attacking myself. It's
You mean ass turters and ADD's asshole dickhead disorder? Because
No. I just take the mick out of myself. I call myself a window licker and I call myself an
Window licker.
Asperger, and I take the piss out of myself, and then it seems to stop people trolling me because I'm already trolling myself.
Okay, however that works.
It's worked over the years, trust me.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that people who are classified as autistic don't have some kind of difficulty or problem or whatever. People are labelled with these psychiatric labels for all kinds of reasons, right? And some of those reasons might have some connection to something that's different. It might not be different, or sometimes it is different, something that's different, and that something different might be a problem or it might be a good thing. If you're too smart, you're classified as autistic, or if you're too dumb, you're classified as autistic. Whatever the definition in the moment, it changes every version of the DSM, it changes every time. There's no such thing as autism. It is a label that doesn't even have a definition. It is a label of smear, okay? What it is, this is what psychiatry is. Psychiatry makes up these so-called mental illness definitions, okay? And they change. If you look into this, I can give you a ton of my own videos going through extreme detail of this stuff. Psychiatry was in a profession. Who has to go now? Zakaria. Okay. Well, thanks for coming, man. You can watch if we upload this. You can see what I'm going to say about autism and whatever we talk about next, and you can go through it. Thanks for coming.
Phil, you going here? Phil?
Wasn't Daphne coming in?
Is he going?
Yeah, he said he needs to sleep.
Right, it's late there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, can I continue? Is it okay if I continue with what I was going to say about autism? Because it's
What
important.
time is it with him then? If he's
I
gone
don't know what
sleep,
time it is where he is. It's 8:30 a.m. where I am. I've been up since 3 a.m. for this, so I'm fine with that. But you know, other people don't have the opportunities that I have. They've got things that they have to do. Okay,
yeah. You just said he needs to sleep. Where is he at?
He said he's in a Muslim country, so he's probably in the Middle East somewhere if it's nighttime, I'm thinking, as a guess. Yeah, I'm guessing he's somewhere around either Eastern Europe or the Middle East somewhere.
He has to be.
Because it's nighttime. Okay, so psychiatry, right, is the profession of torture and execution from the Dark Ages, right? A very fucked up period of time. And a lot of evil shit happened, and there's a long story to that, but this evil profession of torture and execution came about so that evil people could install themselves as kings and governments with supreme power, and they would use this torture of profession of torture and execution for social control. Okay, this is what psychiatry is. This is their original version of psychiatry. They would torture and mutilate and kill people. That's what they did. And they would intimidate the population, because if you slipped out of line, if you so much as questioned your kin, this is what happens to you. So psychiatrists would have to live in a dungeon. They couldn't come out in the public, because if they caught out in the public, they get killed by the population at the first chance, right? So they had to be protected by the government, and they'd spend their lives in a dungeon torturing people.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm just going through. We're just talking about autism. I was going through. I was just going through psychiatry. I'm just explaining the early psychiatry and what happened. If you want to hear me out. So.
Well, I just wanted to tell you guys, I didn't want to interrupt you. I want to join you, but I do not have my headset with me. I'm at my aunt's house, but I love you all, and maybe tomorrow I can. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Much love to y'all.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You're going, you.
Okay, so this torture of profession.
I don't get that. She must have a headset to tell us that.
She says she's at aunts or something, I think she said. So she's not home or something. So the profession of torture and execution, as the Western world fought back against Islam 400 years ago and won and got some of their land back and actually freed themselves of the Islamic parasite, they started evolving culture and civilization again that the Muslims raped from them. So that started 400 years ago, right? And as civilization became more democratic and stuff like that, and more with human rights and things like that came into the picture, the profession of torture and execution was heavily rejected as the public began to get more power, and the governments began to get less power as more of a balance of power. This profession was utterly rejected. So they had to reinvent themselves. So they went underground for a while, and they still did what they did underground. They still supported the government dogs to do things to people, and they came to try and reinvent what their profession was, and to pretend it was some kind of medical profession. But first it was based on research. Hey, we're studying the human anatomy. It might lead to some kind of medical advancements in the future. So we'll just grab random people off the street and we'll do horrific things to them behind closed doors, and we'll just do it in the name of medical research, right? So they did this for a while, and they were rejected for it. They were never accepted. They were considered the scourge of the world. And there's a long history of the horrific things they've done. I've got all videos of this. You can't hear. Someone's saying they can't hear.
Oh, Sarah's here.
Yeah, just got back in. What's up, guys?
Okay, I'm just going through the history. I'm just going through the history of psychiatry and what it is to explain something about autism. So psychiatry reinvented itself. This profession of torture and execution reinvented itself over time as a medical profession. Started justified by research, and it was just evil psychopaths who just like to torture and mutilate and kill people, and just making shit up to justify what they're doing, to pretend that there's some kind of legitimacy to what they're doing.
And they've always been like a dog of the government, a tool of the government, because they need the government to empower them to do what they do. And the governments have a use for them, because this is how the governments intimidate people. So it was rejected. It was rejected for a long time, and it wasn't until the last 100 years or so where it started somewhat getting government support due to the lead up to the world wars and the corrupt powers that be that were taking over the Western governments, who were using this profession, of evil profession, to do people in behind closed doors, and with these bizarre so-called mental illness accusations of, things that would happen to anyone who was labelled crazy. Anyone who questioned the government was labelled crazy, and they would go off to their funny farm, and horrific things would be done to them. I won't go into the details of the horrific things that they did, because it's very horrific. So it was still rejected, but it was growing underground. The governments were secretly growing this cult of psychiatry underground and doing horrific things to people more and more and more. And especially after World War II, because they desperately needed some kind of form of social control to stop the population from rising up against their corrupt, evil narrative. And it was about maybe the 1960s where where governments really embraced psychiatry head on, and it really went downhill from there. So this profession, there's no science to it. It's a cult. It's not a theistic cult. It is a religion. It's an religious atheist cult. And
what we talk about autism.
Yes, I'm getting to autism, because these are the people who defined autism. This is why I need to explain what this group of people is, their ideology. So this is basically just the profession and cult of evil psychopaths. That's all it is. And in order to do what they do, they've justified themselves in a democratic society. They pretend to be some kind of medical profession, and they use fake medical terms, and they pretend that they have some kind of science behind what they do. So in the 1960s, what they did is they just took poisons and shit that they kill animals with, and they just started poisoning and killing humans with it, and pretending that it was medication for imaginary diseases.
Yeah.
And there's no science. There's never been a shred of science to this shit. They keep referring to like chemical imbalances and shit like that. It's all bullshit. There's not a shred of evidence behind it. No, I can show you later. I can go through tons of shit to prove this. So there's nothing legitimate. It is an evil psychopath cult, and there's no such thing as a mental illness. These are just smear labels. These are just labels to justify what they do. So as the government used this cult for social control, and if you actually look at what the law says, psychiatry is actually illegal. It's written into the law as an exception to the law. It's above the law. It is a tool. It is defined by the government as a tool and a tool above the law for social control. So a lot of stuff happened, and this degenerated since the 1960s. A lot of horrific things done, and as the government need to use them for social control. They started out with maybe just a couple of so-called mental illnesses, and now there's like hundreds and hundreds of them, and there's no definition to them anymore. If you look at the criteria to this shit, it's completely batshit crazy. And the definitions of this shit, every single person in the world could be classified with at least 20 or so mental illnesses. And so what are these mental illnesses? What do they exist for? These are labels to justify what they do. So they have the legal power to accuse you of having a so-called mental illness. By accusing you, they are given the legal power to say, because you have this mental illness, you no longer have you're no longer responsible for your own thoughts. So you're deemed irresponsible, and you are therefore stripped of all your human rights. You don't make decisions for your own life. We make decisions for you. And you lose all your rights, and we can kidnap you without any charges or anything. We can just accuse you of a mental illness without evidence, and we kidnap you. We lock you up into a little institution, and we drug you with poison that's made to kill animals, and we do horrific things to you. And if you survive, you'll never get your human rights back again. We control over your life if we ever do let you out. That's what they do. This is what psychiatric labeling is. So things like autism,
They're not actually real diseases. So they can't just make out things out of nowhere and say you have this imaginary illness without any kind of feeble excuse. So with autism, the feeble excuse was that any child who wasn't doing well enough at school, you have a mental illness and it's time to go to the psychiatric facility. Anyone who steps out of line of the norm, any school child who questions his teacher, mental illness. You don't do good enough on your test scores, mental illness. You step out of line, mental illness. You get kidnapped, tortured, and if you survive, you're a cripple, or you're a vegetable for the rest of your life if you do survive. You see what I'm pointing to, what psychiatry really is and what it does. I have a lot of experience in this. I've been targeted by these people. I have extensive documentation of the extreme evil corruption of these people. I was tortured by one of the world's most notorious professional torturers. His name's George Slowinski.
Right.
I've got a lot of evidence on this, and I can go through many hours of shit with you. As much time as you're willing to go through off record, I've got as much time in the world, and I can show you and prove at least too, because this is really important. This is why when you brought this topic of autism up, I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to introduce you to this stuff of what psychiatry really is. So autism is just a generalized label. Anyone who steps out of line, you're autistic. So, do you remember when how old are you? Just give me a general age. You don't have to give me exact age.
In my 30s, Sam.
30s. So you should be old enough to know how the phase of ADD, how this ADD and then it turned into ADHD, it came out of nowhere. Like there was no one ever heard of it. And then suddenly all these children everywhere started getting it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, kind of.
It just came out of nowhere and this big fad of ADD, and they changed it to AD. Why did they change the name? I call it arsehole dickhead disorder because that's usually what it is, just an arsehole dickhead. They don't have a mental problem, they're just an arsehole.
Do you know why ABB started, Jeremy? Do you know why I started ABB?
It started the same way as every other so-called mental illness.
No, Anonymous Bites Back. My old girl. Do you know why I started ABB?
Oh, well, you started Anonymous Bites Back. Why?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I don't.
Because of autism. Because people were splitting autism in the collective.
Right, well, yeah, so as I'm saying, I'm not saying that people who are at this point, I would say that most people who are listed as autistic, who are labelled as autistic, there's nothing wrong with them. These are people who are smart enough, as the government said to me, too smart for your own good. So anyone who is too smart for their own good is labelled autistic. But other people are also labelled autistic because they do have some kind of problem of some sort. You know, maybe they have something fitting with the original definition of autism, where they might have, as a child, they might have had a learning problem. Maybe they just. Sorry.
I just built Megatron. While you were talking, I put the gun together.
Okay.
I put the gun.
The Megatron thing, yeah, that you showed me photos of. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So people who are labelled autistic, it's a definition that can really mean almost anything at this point. So people who are too smart and incompetent for their own good they're labelled autistic. So people who are too incompetent or they have some kind of problem of some sort, they're labelled autistic. Because anyone's autistic at this point. Everyone's autistic. Because it's on a spectrum now. So anyone can be it. It's like if you got AIDS or you haven't got AIDS, or you're dead or you're alive. It's one or the other. With these spectrums, now everyone has it. So there are people who are labelled autistic. They do have some kind of problem. You know, maybe they've just got they've got a family breakdown and they're fighting with their parents. They're angry all the time because their parents abuse them. Or maybe they've got a bad teacher at school. Maybe they're just naturally just not as smart as everyone else, and they score D's in their tests. They can't get straight A's because they're not smart enough. All kinds of reasons. Some of these reasons can be just natural. Some of these reasons can be they might have had something that caused them brain damage or damage in their body. There's all kinds of things, and none of them are mental diseases. So you said to me before that. If you're okay with me mentioning this, because it's important to bring this up, is you said that you're injected with something as a kid, maybe in a vaccine or something. I think might have been saying, and you're saying that's what you think has caused your autism.
Definitely.
And a lot of people, this is an argument that a lot of people say. So vaccines don't cause autism, and I'll show you why. Autism is not like brain damage or anything. Autism is listed as a disorder of the mind. If you poison someone, you damage them. But damage isn't disorder. Like, if you have someone who's completely batshit crazy, their mind's in chaos. Poisoning someone doesn't cause that chaos. These are bad choices that they've made in life. They inherited the wrong disposition, the wrong behavioral traits. They had the wrong life experiences. All these things, all these different pieces of the puzzle come together the wrong way, and it all goes wrong. Okay? That's what causes disorder. No one is born disorderly. It is a combination of factors that cause disorder. Being poisoned and damaged, it can be sometimes, not usually, but sometimes it can be a factor that aggravates a disorder, but it doesn't cause a disorder. So if you're brain damaged or poisoned or something like that, that's not a disorder. That's damage, not a disorder. Autism is a disorder. The person who is autistic is really just, it's a label of saying that you're crazy, that you have a disordered mind. And it is the definition is so self-contradicting now that someone who is overly orderly is also classified as autistic now. The definition doesn't even have any coherent sense anymore. But do you understand the difference between damage and disorder? What I'm saying here. I'm not saying that vaccines don't cause damage. They do. There's some vaccines are quite safe. Some of them are deadly. And some of them are somewhere in the middle. I'm generally against vaccines. I think that in an emergency situation, if it actually had to be happened, then you use a vaccine. You don't use it as a precautionary measure, even if it is relatively safe. It's a fucking sick thing to do. But it doesn't cause autism. It causes damage, and it fucks you up, and it fucks you up with autoimmune problems. I've been fucked up with autoimmune problems. Not because of vaccines, but other shit that was done to me. But all the things that's been done to me, I've been poisoned, I've been shot at, I've been stabbed. I've got all kinds of autoimmune problems, and I've got you could say that's autoimmune disorder. You might even classify my autoimmune problems as a disorder. I wouldn't technically classify it as that, but I don't have a mind disorder. I've experienced all these things that people say that cause autism. All this shit's been done to me, and I didn't turn out autistic. I didn't turn out with a disorder of the mind. I'm damaged to hell and back, and I'm still mentally sound. Yeah, insanity isn't caused by being poisoned with things and damage that's done to you. Insanity is ultimately a choice. It is a choice that you make, not once, not twice. It's a choice that you keep making over a long period of time, and you build up bad habits and bad thinking habits and bad reasoning, and you build on a problem and you make it worse and you build a tower over it. That's how insanity happens. Now, if you just cut out pieces of people's brains and just mutilate the shit out of them, that's not going to make them go crazy. They'll probably die, but if those that don't die, they're not going to go crazy. They're going to either end up as a vegetable, or they're going to end up brain damaged or something. There might be things that they can't do anymore, but they're not insane. They're not disorderly. They're damaged. They're not disorderly. What brain function they have left is still orderly. Do you understand the difference? What I'm saying here between damage and disorder? Jay? You gone silent. I don't know if you've disconnected or you're gone AFK for a sec.
No.
I can hear you. I can hear you in the background. Are you away from keyboard? Are you?
Yeah. You just.
Yeah, I can hear you in the background, just barely. So I know you're listening. So autism is not a damage; it is a disorder. I'm not denying that vaccines don't cause damage. I say that they do cause damage, and the people promoting vaccines should be punished heavily for what they're doing. But they're not causing autism; they're causing damage.
Autism is an imaginary mental illness. There's no such thing as a mental illness. But disorderly minds do exist, but they're not a mental illness. They're not an illness. They're not a disease. They're not a biological disease. They are an ideological disease. These are decisions that choices that people make over a long period of time. These things don't come out of nowhere. So you can get two identical people, and you can do the same thing to them, and one person might end up getting really fucked up over it, and the other person might do the opposite and become a hero out of it. See, your whatever is done to you and your life experiences and what other people do to you, it's not. People like to make excuses and say, "I am this way because these other people made me that way." It doesn't work like that. You take what life gives you, and you use it, and you choose how you use that. Some people are given more than others, and you take what you're given, and you either make it into something better, or you waste it and just become like a drug addict and shit like that. And people who are typically insane these are people who choose feelings over facts, and they indulge fantasies, and they abandon all their responsibilities, and all they care about is living in the moment in how they feel. They don't have any foresight. They abandon all their responsibilities, and this is a moral compass problem ultimately. It's about having a moral compass. People who abandon the truth go insane. But when people make bad choices and they abandon the truth, it's like this: red pill, blue pill. If you take the red pill, you can't go back. You choose the truth. You can't go back to the blue pill. A blue pill is a person who chooses not the red pill, a person who chooses truth. A blue pill is a person who chooses belief. A blue pill can choose. If you take the blue pill, you can choose to believe that you took the red pill. So blue pills think that they're red pills. I have a saying of this: the pursuit of the truth comes at the cost of beliefs, perpetually. The pursuit of beliefs come at the cost of the truth, eventually. It's like an antivirus.
If you don't have an antivirus constantly monitoring and maintaining the quality of things, and it's also like a garden. If you don't weed the garden and you let the weeds grow and take over, it's gonna, give it time, it's gonna fuck up. The garden's gonna be a mess. This is how also insanity and stuff happens. It happens over time through choices. You don't tend your garden, and weeds are planted, and you just let them grow wild. So autism isn't disorders of the mind exist, but autism isn't real. When people refer to autism, they're talking about damage, and that damage is a really messed up thing to do. It's harming children in the worst possible way, and that's wrong in one of the worst possible ways. But it's not. That's not making them. It's damaging. It might make them unable to do certain things. Now, as for people being jittery and stuff like that, having the jitters, as we mentioned this before, this isn't a disorder of the mind. This is a reaction to harm that's done. Okay, so look, I'll give you an example of this. There's a lot of examples. I'll just give you one important one. So people are born with an inherent disposition. Okay, individually, racially, species level, different animals and people have a different disposition that's pre-built, and then they gain experiences, and those experiences shape that disposition and bend it towards a different. It's still steered towards the central inherent disposition, but it steers towards off a little bit in the direction of your experiences. Okay, so I was going to say, I forgot the point I was going to make. Steers a disposition in there. I forgot the point I was making. I was laying out 3 points at the same time. So your disposition is inherent, and your experiences shape your disposition in a little bit into a different direction. But this stuff comes pre-built, and insanity is the choices that it comes from the choices that you make in the wrong mix of things. Like, if you take a dog and you lock him up in a cage for 10 years, he's going to go crazy. You're like in a cage where he can't they lock up chickens. If you lock a dog up in a cage like that, he's going to go completely crazy. So anyone or almost anyone may go crazy in the right conditions, but your environment's not causing that. You're still choosing that. It's just, it's like you grow a crop, you water the field. If you cultivate the crop in the right way, it's going to have a higher chance at growing into a tree and growing fruit. But you can't guarantee it either way. You can increase the chances of things going right, but you can't guarantee it. So if you've got really fucked up situation that's happened in your life, that can make the chances higher that things are going to go wrong. But those things that change those chances, they're not causing it. It's always a choice that you make. Every person is responsible for the actions they take at all times. Doesn't matter what anyone else does to you. Everyone's responsible. They can't change what's been done to them, but they can decide what they do with it. So when people have the jitters, this is what I say about evolutionary dispositions. So there's inherent disposition, right? But there's dormant. Sorry?
I just had Garcia Caramel. That was my action, and it was fucking awesome.
So, have you ever heard of the monkey and the snake scenario?
What?
This is an example of dormant behavior. Okay, so we have, like, a lot of people are scared of spiders, right? But others aren't. But there's this fear of spiders. This is evolutionary, right? This is built into you.
It's because they look like fucking little Indian
No.
kids.
This is built. This is This is a disposition built into you to avoid certain things. This is how evolution survives. So there are things that you have fears of normally, and the way you react to normally. But there are a lot of things deep inside your mind, and evolutionarily, things that are switched off. There are some things that are switched on at birth, and they stay on for the rest of life. There are some things that switch on and off. But there are some things that are switched off from birth, but they can switch on later in life, depending on what happens. So these things that switch on, they're switched off by default for a reason, because they're very powerful, and they can cause a lot of damage if they're switched on. This is like last resort, desperation mode kind of stuff, really important stuff that you want to use only when you need to. So what happens is, certain things happen in your life, and it will trigger one of these switches. It might be trigger you to fear a certain thing or react a certain way to a certain thing, a certain trigger. And one of these switches, these dormant evolutionary switches, will turn on, such as the monkey and the snake. So I'll give you an example of one of these switches with monkeys have these switch. All animals have these switch, all mammals at least. So the monkeys who have never lived in the wild, they've never met a snake before. You can show them a snake, and they're not scared of the snake. They befriend the snake. There's no problem here. They don't feel threatened by the snake. This is a cool other animal here, and they're all cool. But you can show them a flower, and they're not scared of flowers either. Nothing happens. It's all fine. You can show them a flower killing monkeys. You can show them that all day. But that monkey's still not going to be scared of flowers. No matter how evil you make flowers to be, that monkey's never going to be scared of a flower, no matter what you do, because this is not one of these dormant switches. But if you just show you only need to do this once. If you show one monkey screaming at one snake, just screaming in fear at one snake, that switch turns on in the monkey that sees it. And he's scared of snakes for life. Petrified of them. This inherent fear of snakes for evolutionary survival, it's switched off at birth. It only needs to see it. They only need to see it once, and it switches on, and it stays on for life. You can't switch it off.
Bro, I'm gonna have to
So when you've got jitters, understand things like this. You've got jitters for a reason. It may be some switches that have been turned on. Maybe you'll be able to switch them off one day. Maybe you won't. Maybe you just have to learn
to adapt. Or maybe you'll be able to switch them off. So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This isn't autism. This is normal. This isn't a disorder. This is order. It's just you've been taught things that are natural as being unnatural.
Right, bro, I gotta go because it's 10
Okay.
p.m., okay?
Do you want me to stop the recording?
Yeah, man. Who cares what parents are giving me for sleep?
I can't hear you. It's faint.
I said my parents will be going to sleep. This will be late, man.
Okay. Do you want me to send you a recording?
Yeah, man, definitely.
All right. I'll go upload. I'll stop now. I'll stop now. I'll upload it and I'll send you, as soon as it's uploaded, I'll link you in Discord straight to the recording, okay?
Okay, buddy. I'll be going to sleep up in an hour as well.
If you want to go over the stuff I talked about and we'll do some research, I'll just let me know, alright?
Okay, dude. Yeah,
Alright. I'll catch you later, man.
That's it. Like,
Bye.